Hey, everybody on YouTube. It is that time of the week where we wrap things up, but even better than that, it is that time of the month where we all hop on the woo train for the man, the myth, and the alien legend, R Keith Andrews. Yes, I mean, honestly, let's just be honest. We all get excited when Keith comes on, and if you saw him, I'm watching him on video right now, and I wish I could show you because his hair is looking fantastic. His sideburns are classic pork chops right now. They are beautiful. Keith, I love you, man. I absolutely love you. And more importantly, Keith, thank you so much for being my friend. I absolutely think the world of you, buddy.
Well, I appreciate that, Dave. It's been a hell of a ride, but it's been enjoyable all the way around.
I know, right? I know. But you're one of my best friends in this field, and I love it when you come on, and the excitement that our audience gets when you come on as well, my friend, is second to none. So we're glad to have you. Let's give everybody a shout out so far that is here, because we love everybody who is here. And we're going to scroll way up to the top, see if I still get room here. Hi, gorgeous Kimberly. The sexy and talented block chick breed is here, everyone. Ninpo, welcome to the show. James Horn, good to have you here. Brett Lewis is here, which means we can officially start the show. Human Carl, everyone, not to be confused with Alien Carl. It is Human Carl, one of our favorite veterans who listens to this show. Human Carl, we absolutely love you here. Thank you for tuning us in, and thank you for your service to your country. We got Larry Schulte is here, everyone. And who else? Scotty Eisner, Princess Denali, the official princess of Spaced Out Radio. Bee's Nest, good to see you here, my friend. Always a pleasure. We got Long Island Bigfoot. Thank you for coming on in. Cat Chaser, good to see you again. And thank you so much for kicking off the Super Chat tonight. I really do appreciate that. It's a great way to support what we do here. And thank you so much. Nucker, how you doing, buddy? I think Brendan Dillon's going to be a Canuck, by the way, by the free agency. I think he's going to be a Canuck, and we need him. Big Rob, always a pleasure to see you. The gorgeous Jules, you are here too. Steam Train Mark, thank you for letting us know from the future that I am alive tomorrow. I really appreciate that. Who else we got here? Tammy Jackson's here, everyone. The lovely and talented Tammy Jackson. There she is. Millennium, good to see you here. Stu Gerson, I love you, man. Thank you for coming in. You know what I mean by that. Spookles the Cat, the best damn social media person in online radio right there. Spookles the Cat, we love you. Hey, Rob and the Scoreboard crew, how we all doing? Much love to you, my friend. I hope you're healing up well. Susie Cutesy and the Lord of the Squirrels, welcome back. How is your cold pizza? Mere Person, always a pleasure. Felix, good to have Felix here, everyone. Felix, nothing more than Felix. Yeah, I went there. Holy shit, did I actually go there? Prairie Fire, good to see you, my friend. Jenny, much love to you, hun. How are you doing? Felix. Johnny Rabke from Kentucky. Welcome to the show, man. This is 2 nights in a row for you. We appreciate you coming on in. Redheaded Lisa, sneaking in quietly. How you doing, gorgeous? Good to have you here. Cable Guy Matt's here, everyone. Cable Guy Matt. Remember, you can pick up your free piece of coaxial cable autographed by Cable Guy Matt. You cannot buy these in stores. Limit 1 per household. Keith, I'll get you to cut your video if you don't mind.
Oh, no.
And Nicole Sakic will be joining us as well. The lovely and talented Nicole is here. And believe it or not, she actually did her hair for all of you tonight. That's hard to believe. Let's see here. Big Dog, good to see you. Thanks for coming on in. Felix, nothing more than Felix. All right, who else do we have? Yes, for Cable Guy Matt, please make sure you get permission from a parent or guardian to get that free piece of coaxial cable. Opa! Greco's here, everyone. Good to see you here, my friend. Steph Dickey, the lovely and talented Steph is here. Yes, Zach. Now, you guys got to go on Instagram and see Zach's work, where he recreates and rebuilds, like, Hot Wheels cars. It is phenomenal. Make sure you check him on out. Hey, Chris Mo, good to see you here. All right, we're going to go here in about 25 seconds. Great way to support this show. Hey, April, May, June, welcome. Is to hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up or down if you don't mind, and of course to let's just hit that right there. Of course to also hit the super chat as well as everything else. Go to our website, spacedoutradio.com. Here we go. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free for you at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. Each and every month, we get in and we get on when it comes down to boarding the Woo train. ET Contactee R Keith Andrews is here to discuss the purpose of aliens coming to Earth and having contact with us. He's not only an ET Contactee, Keith is also highly intuitive. His gifts have helped people for more than 30 years. Keith proclaims he's been in touch with about 40 different extraterrestrial species since childhood. He's a near-death experiencer as well, and here he counsels you. So we do this show a little bit differently than we normally do. This is an audience participation show, so if you're on Twitter or if you are on or in one of our chat rooms, make sure you end up going and putting your questions in capital letters, so that way we can get them to Big Bad Keith. We are also joined by the lovely and talented Nicole Sakic, a voice you are familiar here with on Spaced Out Radio. Nicole is a researcher for Grant Cameron, as well as an experiencer herself. She likes the woo. That's why we bring her in. And the big reason why we do is because Keith is technically still on work shift for another hour. And so we got to make sure that if Keith all of a sudden has to take a work call, we got Nicole here, and I'm just not fumbling and bumbling around looking like an idiot on the radio. Welcome, Keith. Welcome, Nicole, to Spaced Out Radio.
Thank you very much for having me. And welcome to everybody dropping in to join us.
Absolutely. Hi, Nicole.
I'm always happy to be Robin to Keith's Batman.
Oh,
Glad to be.
He is so our Batman, and you are the perfect Robin. You really, really are. All right, we're going to have some fun here, Keith. As we always start off with you, we have new listeners who come on in every single night, and they are checking things out, wondering what is going on. Who is this R Keith Andrews guy? Tell us a little bit about your backstory.
Well, in a nutshell, I literally started running into off-worlders. I understand I split alien races into off-worlders, meaning they were born off-planet, or the ancient races, which are the ones that evolved here, and many of them are still here. But that started the day I was born, literally when I was in the incubator. Actually, I think it started before that, but that's another complication. So, since then, I've been basically in contact with them for, pretty much the entirety of my life. So now it's just a question of trying to help people understand where they're coming from, how they're dealing with things. And I mean, I started off being abducted, that's that thing that nobody wants to do. Since then, I've literally ended up becoming what we call a contactee, or in my case, a consultant. I get pulled up there to help them sort out problems between their various races. Which is why at present, Well, there were 59 in the first book, and I think I've got 40 in the second, which puts us close to 100 different races that I've documented.
Keith, as you've gone through this entire lifetime with ET Contactee, I know it's normal for you, but what's abnormal about it?
The abnormal about it from my standpoint?
Yeah.
Or from everybody else's?
From you.
The difficult part for me, I think, is knowing what I know and the number of people that have talked and taken a look at this subject, and there are still so many people that go, no, mankind is the top of the totem pole. They are absolutely the top of the line, and yet there are so many things that we see in the skies that nobody can explain. Never mind the ones that we see on the planet.
Nicole, I want to bring you in here for a second because not only are you an experiencer, but a researcher as well. And there goes Keith, so that's absolutely perfect timing on his part. But Nicole, a lot of times in this field, we make fun of the woo. We really try to push the woo to the limits. We like to laugh at it. We like to make fun of it. We like to snark it on social media. All right. But there is a lot of importance, I believe, that also comes through with it. Why do you think we need to start looking into the woo a little bit more?
Well, I think I'll fall back to my answer that I give on your question of the day quite often. And that's, I think it's the dawn of the experiencer. And in a different way than the days gone by. I'm not talking about, we're just hearing about these, things in the sky for the first time and people are coming out of the cracks. I really do think this new pop culture way of thinking about the phenomenon is a validation for the rise of the experiencer. I really think people are going to start taking what people experience seriously, and I'm hopeful with that.
Okay, but as an experiencer yourself, you have had numerous people in your own circles over time who say you're full of it. You didn't experience what you experienced, or you didn't see what you claim you saw. You didn't feel what you claim you felt. I mean, there is a lot of people who are questioning the people who are experiencers, saying you really cannot judge or cannot say what you are experiencing because how do we know that really happened to you?
You're right. It does happen a lot where people question what you say you experience, and there are some go-to right-left punches that I kind of have in my arsenal when I feel like I'm on the defense. But that's kind of what's changed lately. I really don't feel like I'm on the defense when I'm talking about my experiences. I think I'm more on the offensive with just explaining the nature of the phenomenon that I've encountered. But some of those 1-2 punches that I could throw out, I guess, are kind of in the vein of spirituality. It falls on that side of digging into this research that all of us hate when we're skeptical. We hate leaning towards the spiritual. A lot of us have denied that over the years, but I think we all come to a point in our experience where we let go and we embrace a lot of what we're dealing with on faith. And once we do that, an entire door is opened up with the phenomenon and how we deal with it. And I find that that's something that people in the general population can relate to on some level. I think everybody has taken a leap of faith in their life.
Well, one of the things that I'm curious about is you get a lot of these skeptical people or these sciencey type people out there who want to know about the phenomena, but they're sick and tired of the story. They're sick and tired of the experience. And I understand their feeling. It's not data. We can't use anything scientific out of it. Even though in talking to Bob McGuire, he says there is a way, we just haven't figured it out yet. And that's what science is all about. And so when I look at it, all right, when I look at trying to figure out what is going on, is it really fair when we get a lot of these skeptical people, you tell them your story and they're like, no, you didn't. No, that's not what happened. How do you know what happened? There's too many variables. You can't tell me what happened when you don't know what happened, and we can't take your personal view on what happened because the human mind plays tricks, so you really don't know what happened.
Right. And that always comes down to your experience is subjective. And I think that lends a lot to the phenomenon that we don't understand. Whether it's the scientists or the psychologists or people in reverse engineering that have been trying to tackle this problem for decades, I think, or even if you're just an experiencer trying to figure this out for yourself, I think we keep coming up against walls where science doesn't really help. It can't encompass the full body of the experience in a repeatable fashion. But I think, like you mentioned, our friend Bob McGuire, Science Bob, I think he and SkyHub are really pushing the envelope with ways that the experiencer can get validation through scientific method. I think that has been lacking for decades and decades. Not that people haven't been trying or pursuing it. I think we just keep coming up lacking. And experiencers are being taken more seriously these days with what they're going through. So scientists can kind of apply that data, at least, in maybe how to postulate future experiments and how we can test this phenomenon.
Is it fair that we are now, or many in this field, are now crucifying the experiencer?
No, I don't think it's fair. I think we, fall behind that cliche of experiencers are crazy or aloof. Or I think we fall in line with this deniability that, so many of us have said that spirituality is subjective. So when we apply a spirituality lens to this topic, we automatically think that it can't be scientific if there's spirituality involved. And I think that's the beauty of ufology. I think this is where modern times kind of blend these 2 points of view and the unknown. So hopefully we can figure it out.
Okay, so with that, you work closely with Grant Cameron, who literally tries to bring the political side, the scientific side, and the woo side all together at once. And he's taken a lot of heat over that over the years, but he's got a strong backbone and really doesn't seem to give a care about what anybody says. He's just going where the information takes him. Why do you think so many people fail to do what Grant does and just let the information take you to where you need to go?
Well, my quick answer is that they have a left brain inhibitor that's just too much involved with their day-to-day. And this is kind of what I was meaning. Like, there's a point where those of us without faith or spirituality have had to come face to face with this beast and take a lot on faith or the unknown and just leap into it. And I think that's where Grant is a very brave researcher. He doesn't go into it jaded. He follows where the rabbit holes lead. And if something's confusing to him, that's exactly what he is going to pursue more. And I think that's what pushes the envelope in this field. I mean, for the last, well, when did Jacques Vallée come out with his alternative theory to the extraterrestrial theory? I think that was earth-shattering in our community for a lot of decades. And I think it's just now that even diehard researchers like Grant, who is also an experiencer. I mean, he didn't get into this just because he thought it was neat. He had an experience. And I think in that pursuit, after decades and decades, you kind of start to see where other researchers that you maybe scoffed at years ago are coming from. You know, all these pieces come together in our personal puzzle as we need them to unfold. And I think that's what's happening now. So we would be lacking if we didn't pay attention.
All right, I got a question from Princess Denali. She goes, from my asking during meditation, they say it's in our history. What's the general opinion to we should learn from our past when it comes to this phenomena?
Do you want me to answer that first?
Well, considering it's just you and me right now, that might help.
I forgot Keith was gone. I thought he was just on pause. I find with my own personal experiences, and I can't really pull from other people's point of view, I find that these glimpses into the past that we get are somehow a lesson for our present. You know, whether it's for our personal betterment so we can understand what's about to unfold or what is unfolding for us in the present. I look at it all as kind of hints is really the best way I can describe it. Princess Denali, the official SOR princess.
Yes, she is. And we appreciate her for that because we could always add a little royalty to the show here. We really could. All right, yes. She also holds up her pinky finger when she drinks tea. So, you know, we don't have that officially confirmed yet, but that's what we are believing. Nicole Sakic is with us. R Keith Andrews will be back with us here in a few minutes' time. When it comes to the experiencer, and you are an experiencer, you work with experiencers like Grant Cameron, you know a plethora of experiencers out there. There is this clash with the scientific community and those who are skeptical about it. You have been on both sides of the ledger in your own research, Nicole, and let's get personal here for a second. Okay, you've been on both sides, and it took a lot for you a number of months ago to finally say enough is enough. I cannot withhold what has happened to me anymore. You know, what made you change your own mind in regards to the phenomena and how you need to approach it?
Ooh, that is a bit of a loaded question, and I will get personal with it. I was very frustrated. I had swam around in nuts and bolts research, just very physical cases after cases after cases, trying to relate them to my own experience. But it didn't encompass, after you read sighting report after sighting report, and they're just so bare-boned, I guess is the way to put it. They don't really encompass the woo or the high strangeness that we all know is associated with sightings. And so I felt a lot of the nuts and bolts was there data-wise, but there wasn't anything further than that. And what really pushed me to start going beyond was just talking with other experiencers. And even though not every detail of their experience matched up with mine, I found more often than not there was an element that I could relate to. And knowing that the scientific field in this community is lacking for experiencers, it was just it was a aha moment or a click that just made me want to believe people more than having that abrasive eye of they're just confused or they're mentally ill or they're untruthful. And I related that personally because, yeah, it is rare that you share these experiences with people or what you go through. And I've been very fortunate in my own experiences. I really haven't had people turn that lens on me and make me feel defensive about what I was going through or what I do go through. And so that's been helpful now that I've taken this leap of faith into Woo Land to accept that there's going to be things that aren't explainable rationally. I took a big leap of faith. And with that, I also knew that I was going to eat a lot of crow sandwiches and have to suspend maybe that criticism that I normally maybe would have had a few years ago. And yeah, it's just really changed ufology for me as a whole. And it's the experiencers that I've spoken with. It's not any data relatable thing that I've encountered to make me go, aha, this is it.
That's a wonderful answer. We got less than 2 minutes to go. Keith is with us. Keith, we're going to fire your first question at you right here from Greco. Does interdimensional warfare exist between alien races?
Nope. And the reason I say no is because everything that you see in this realm is third dimensional. Now, does interstellar warfare happen between them? Absolutely. Are there different races that vibrate at a different rate? Absolutely. But they are all third dimensional.
All right. Good answer. Nicole, we got a quick question from you from Greco. Nicole, can an alien kill you through consciousness or astral assassination?
I would say I do not think so, because I follow the belief that nothing can harm you in your inner consciousness when you're on that side of it. It's different from the physical realm. And when you're there astrally or otherwise, no, I think that's when it turns into a movie Matrix, or what's the movie with DiCaprio, Inception. That's when I think if you're on that side of consciousness, I think your mind is what you make it. And so if there's a harmful or fearful thing, I think that's coming from your own inner self. I don't think it's necessarily an outside force.
All right, Nicole, great answer. R. Keith, good to have you back here for the ET Connection with R. Keith Andrews. Nicole is our special guest tonight, and we will continue with your audience questions when we come back after this break at the bottom of the hour. It's all ETs all night long with one of the best entertainers we have on this show. R. Keith Andrews and the ET Connection continues on Spaced Out Radio with special guest Nicole Sackage as well, here on the Mighty SOR.
Woo! Woo! I didn't know if we were clear.
We're clear. You guys can hear. You can hear the music, though, can you not?
No.
No, not that just then. No, I couldn't hear it.
Oh, weird. Because could you hear the intro when the intro was playing?
Yes.
Okay. All right. We'll figure it out. That one's a little bit quieter. So, hey, Worsley, how's it going, man? Welcome back. Keith, good to have you here.
It's like I didn't tell you. You know, I get absolutely nothing for the last 4 hours, and then we go on air, and there we are.
That's my... I do that.
Yeah. Nicole's the kind of lady who waits till 3 minutes before a restaurant closes to order a four-course meal.
Oh, are you kidding me?
You were totally...
I'm a chef.
I know.
Do you think will that be...
Payback's a bitch for the rest of them.
That's when your steak gets dropped on the floor and thrown on the grill.
Ouch.
Just saying. I'm completely teasing. I love the people that come in at 5 till close because that means I get paid overtime.
Yes. Overtime is good.
Boom.
The only time that ever bothered me is if we had been dead all night and then they wait and it's a regular that comes in at 5 minutes to the end. Those are the ones that used to annoy me.
You know what annoys me at work is our accountant will come in literally about 5 minutes before I want to leave, and he tries to drop a bunch of paperwork on my desk, say, well, can you explain this to me? Can you explain that to me? And I literally look at him now, and I say no. And then he'll go, why? I said, because this is your job to figure this out. This ain't my job. I'm off in 5 minutes, dude. 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't blame you there.
Oh, yeah. Every time. You know, he's the kind of guy, whether if I can have a client in my office and he always walks to the door. Yeah. Does anybody know those people who literally will come to the door trying to get your attention? Look over
yeah.
here. Yeah. That's what he does. And I'm like, shut the heck up. I love him to death, though. I do. He's a really good person. Really good person. You know? But, ugh.
That's always the worst time of day to do anything, though, right? When you're wanting to leave. That's like, yeah, you just don't do that.
Right?
Unless you're paid hourly, like I am, then you just don't care. You're like, all right, I'm getting paid 8 cents a minute to listen to this blah, blah, blah. Let's do this.
Yeah, see, I don't have that much tolerance anymore for people. You know?
I don't either. That's why I'm a chef and I hide back in the kitchens. I don't have to talk to people.
Yeah, I know that was the one thing in the hospitality industry that I didn't do. Of course, they didn't really want me cooking anyway, but...
Awesome.
No, everything else I did.
Oh, Neil the security says, I'm a bartender. I know the struggle. Welcome back, Neil. Good to have you here.
He does know the struggle.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure he's been essential through COVID.
Oh, by the way, I owe our audience here. I have been challenged by Spookles the cat. I have been challenged by Spookles the cat. And it's a horrific challenge. Disgusting challenge. All right? This challenge should be illegal. It really should. All right? We just rolled today over 9,000 subscribers on YouTube. Now, I know that's not a lot compared to a lot of the monster channels out there, but you know what? We started this with one, and that was me. And now we got over 9,000. We've never bought followers. We've never, forced people into doing what they're doing. Everybody has followed us on the natural grassroots level. So Spookles the cat has basically put out a challenge that if we can hit 10,000 followers by the end of October, I will eat breakfast for dinner on the air. Plain and simple. Think about that, children. Here we go. Oh, weird. My music isn't coming on. I wonder why.
Well, that explains why we didn't hear it.
Yeah, no kidding. I wonder what's going on here. Oh, I know why. Oh, Davey forgot to... I potted up the wrong pot. That's exactly what I did. I took the wrong lever and didn't put it on. Oh, well, that'll be fun to edit out, but that's okay. We're going to continue on here with ET Connection and R Keith Andrews. Hey, everyone. Thank you for tuning us in. Reminder to all of you that if you have missed portions of this show or others, you can check out our free archives at youtube.com/spaced out radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Okay, it's the ET Connection with R. Keith Andrews and Nicole Sackich, our special guest. We're going to get to your questions here in a moment. But anyways, I'm going to say this on the air. We just rolled over 9,000 subscribers on our YouTube channel, and thank you so much to everybody who supports what we do on a daily basis, nightly basis, listening to this show, whether it's live or whether it is on our archives on YouTube. And I'm very proud of that because we've done this on a grassroots level. Okay, we've never been one of those shows that has bought followers. We've never, tried to sabotage our numbers to make them look bigger than what they are. What you see is what you get. We're very proud to be on that grassroots level where we've done it from one subscriber up to where we are now. So Spookles the cat, who does my social media, has come up with this idea, this challenge. To all of you listeners out there, if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, you know my distaste, my disdain, my disgust for eating breakfast foods for dinner. All right? You know that. Well,
Oh, yeah, we know about that one.
yeah. So anyways, I don't like it. I think breakfast foods have their place. It's before 10 a.m., and that's where they should stay. Okay, scrambled eggs, not bacon, that's a universal food. Okay, sausages, hash browns, all right, toast, hollandaise sauce. What else can we throw on there?
Well, I'm betting you'll throw pancakes and waffles on there.
Yeah, those two. Okay, so here we go. If we hit 10,000 subscribers on YouTube by the end of our show on October 31st, I will eat breakfast for dinner on a show coming up. On November 1st, I will eat breakfast for dinner right here. All right, there's the challenge. 10,000. If you guys want to see me absolutely get disgusted by having to eat breakfast for dinner, the challenge has been set. It's up to you to make it happen. We got to hit 10,000, though. And Spookles the cat, I am disgusted by this, that you have forced me into this. Horrible person you are. Horrible person. Moving on to the ET Connection here, as the challenge is now set. All right. Your questions are going to be warranted here. And I know there's a couple in here. The chat room is moving very, very fast here. All right, Greco is asking, R. Keith, what do I need to do to get abducted? Do I need to show more leg?
I'll tell you what, I have no idea. I came by it so naturally, I've never tried. It just kind of happens for me. I've heard a lot of people talk about really putting the intention out there. But I caution you, be very specific that you want to have a positive interaction from your perspective. Because I will tell you, there are races that will quite happily pick you up, and they'll think it's a great deal. You may not be quite so happy about it.
Can you?
But in all fairness, I really don't know how you go about organizing it.
Keith, how much strength does the intention have?
Depending on the race you're aiming at, that can make all the difference in the world. But you've got to be very specific about what you're looking for. And it basically boils down to, if they're going to collect you, if you've got something going on in your life that is pertinent to what they're trying to study, they'll come and collect you.
Okay, so is there a way to keep from the good guys from taking you comparatively to making sure the bad guys don't take you?
Ultimately, it boils down to the intention, and other than that, I really don't know. If you're lucky, if the bad guys try and take you, the good guys will intercept them.
All right, let's get to Joe's question. He's got aliens down in California. He's asking, is it possible for a regular person to turn an abduction into an alien capture? I want to add a gray to my collection. So in this post, in this question, Joe is finally admitting he does have aliens.
Technically, the answer is yes. However, you don't, and quite frankly, given the technologies involved, your technology level had better be extremely high.
Nicole, you giggle. What is your thoughts?
I kind of flash to the huntsmen that I know around these parts that have their big trophy walls, and I'm thinking of like a deer and a moose and birds, creatures of prey, and then of course alien Carl's head like up there or something. And I chuckled because I don't think they would ever allow that to happen. That was my initial thought. How can you set a trap for something that already knows all of your intentions? I just don't think it's a huntsman type situation. I think if you're approaching it that way, you're just really off base.
Or off, you're not one of the two, but
we'll go with off base. You're off base. And Dave calls me the UFO huntress. So I mean, if that tells you anything. And okay, so once with compulsion in 25 years, or once after 25 years, I mean, I would say my hunting skills aren't really on the predator spectrum.
Yeah, I'm feeling kind of left out. Keith, I did have an experience a couple of weeks ago, and I let Nicole know about this, and I let our audience know about this too. I had a dream that I was on a spacecraft. There was an alien gray that was showing me itself in my mind. All right. I could not see it in front of me. I knew I was on a craft, though.
right.
Very gray, very dim. All right. And I had a strange number put in my head. And I'm curious to see what you think of it. All right. The number was the number 7, then a space, and then the fraction 4/1. Now, I brought this mathematical equation to Science Bob, who, considering I believe he has a doctorate in mathematics, that is something, he might be a little bit of an expert on this. And his assumption, and I didn't quite understand his explanation, but he says sometimes 4/1 is not just 4, as in simple basic fractions and mathematics. He goes, it can mean more. And I don't understand that. So if you're looking at it, what do you get off of it?
Do we have any other context other than they just threw this number at you?
That's it. Does it have? Let me ask you this, okay? Does it have anything with the symbols that I told you about?
Trying to remember what the symbols were again. But that particular configuration you said was 7 space and then a 4/1, right?
Yes.
You're dealing you're dealing with coordinates. And I know that sounds completely bizarre because humans don't deal with coordinates like these guys do. You're dealing with temporal coordinates. Basically, you're likely dealing with UA, or AU actually, as in astronomical units. Distances between jump points is what you're probably looking at, and therefore the answer to would it have anything to do with the prior symbols? Undoubtedly, yes. Especially if it was coming from another set of grays. Because I'm looking at the configuration here. The other thing you also look at is when you're looking at 7 with the space 4/1, you're looking at a lot of variables involved, most of which have to do with spatial reconfiguration.
So when you say jump coordinates, can you explain that a little bit more for me? So like, how would that relate to, like when you say jump coordinates, I'm like, Star Trek, it's going to take 4 jumps or 7 jumps of 4 quadrants to get to the location. Like, I mean, can you just break that down a little bit?
Sort of on the right track. The 7 would be the distance from the outermost planet, right, which in this solar system is Pluto. Actually, in all fairness, there's one more outside of Pluto. But we worry about the furthest one out is Pluto. Right. So you take the distance from Pluto to the sun, right? And quite literally, you're looking at 28 times that to get to the jump point, which takes it right outside the gravitational pull of the localized area, making it a whole lot. Now, when we're talking wormholes, if you go back to when you were in, well, I don't know about you, but when I was in elementary school, there was a book out called A Wrinkle in Time that talked about folding space.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's what wormholes are.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get to another question here. Millennium is asking, Keith, have you heard of Kevin J. Briggs about his lifelong connection to an off-worlder named Ort, who is a member of the Council of 8?
Only briefly. I seem to remember the last name, like the name Ort. That being said, do I know who this Kevin is? No. But then I'm probably the worst researched person on the planet.
Okay, what's the Council of 8?
Council of 8, there are quite a number of them. It depends on which group he was dealing with, because a Council of 8 is, quite frankly, it's a smaller version of the Council of 12, but it would be used in various different capacities, different smaller projects, if you will. Right. Now, like I said, there are multiples of them. Like, there's a lot of different councils that are classified as councils of 8. But they're project management teams. So exactly which one he's referring to, I don't know.
All right, Greco has a question. Do any of the aliens genuinely need human help?
No. I'm sorry, was that?
It's just a simple question.
I would agree with that. No.
Try that again.
I would agree with you and say no. In my research, I've never come across any testimony that has said they have given help.
See, the only ones that really need help are the Teklek. And that's because they like human as a delicacy, and without the humans, they don't have their delicacy. But let's face it, these races are all millennia older than mankind is, and they got there but without mankind. So about the only thing they need to help with is the Greys need them for the hybridization program because they're a better genetic base. They're a more versatile genetic base. And they need them for understanding the human genome on Terra. But they really don't require them for any other purpose. Number one, humans make lousy slave labor. The fact of the matter is they are not a resilient race. They're very easily broken. And they are very uncontrollable. And as the Sasasians put it, you slap them once on the back and you break every bone in their chest. You can't even congratulate them properly.
I chuckle because I think of that. I think it's part of our literature and a part of our, storytelling where humanity does have the capacity to have this unwavering deniability to be unbeat, and maybe it's a pop culture belief that none of us can be enslaved ever again for any reason.
It doesn't work.
Garbage. I mean, it's honestly garbage. Any of us could be a slave at any minute. But with any extraterrestrial biological entity or ultra-terrestrial that I've heard testimony on, it's never been an enslavement type of scenario. I mean, I've always heard maybe that scenario with like the Anunnaki, and we were created as a slave race to mine minerals and things like that. But I personally have been able to clarify that in any way, shape, or form. But I'm not an experiencer like you, Keith. I don't have this vast knowledge of multiple races visiting. So that's why I love these chats.
The funny thing with the whole idea of slavery, mankind does have the ability, the natural ability, to manipulate what humans call zero matter, or 0 point matter, or 0 point energy is more to the point. They've also got this phenomenal capacity to go the completely wrong or completely illogical direction and win. Take a look at all the facts before you. Mankind will do something absolutely bizarre and still come out on top, which does make them a dangerous group.
Maybe, but I think that's subjective to what you think, comes out on top. And I mean, I think fellow humans, of course, buck that thought of being objectified or becoming a slave to something else. But I think we really need to think how we treat other living life forms on this planet. Whether I love eating meat, I eat meat, but what we do to our own food is ridiculous and barbaric to some standards.
Very true.
And I mean, even thinking about, and maybe not so much in the automotive days, but think about how we used animals to our means. They weren't all wild and running free and just getting to live their happy animal life. No, we domesticated them, which means that we broke and manipulated them over decades.
All right, let's move on to another question here from the audience. Corrins is asking, what food should we humans eat, Keith, so that our meat would taste horrible to aliens so they won't eat us?
Actually, you want me to answer that?
Yep.
Feces.
Feces?
That's about the only thing you're going to do that they're not going to be impressed with.
What kind of dookie is spooky?
Try that again.
What kind of dookie is spooky to the aliens?
You know, I'm going to say that's subjective. I'll answer for Keith since I'm the food person. I mean, we all, or I can't say we all, a lot of people like how pork tastes, and that's great. But then there's this special kind of pork called ibucore that comes along. And the only reason it's special is because we feed the pigs something special in the last few months of their lives to make them taste extra special. So, I mean, could the average person tell the difference between this pork chop and an ibucore pork chop? Probably not. Could somebody in the foodie world? Most definitely. Would somebody that doesn't even give a crap and has never eaten a pig before really even care? Probably not. So I think that's completely subjective.
For the
Eat
most part.
pineapples. They make everything taste better.
Try that again.
I said eat pineapples. They make everything taste better. And I'll take it a step further. In my experience, baby anything tastes better than grown-up anything. So that's scary.
All right.
Yeah,
go on,
we
Keith.
get a really bad direction there.
All right. All right. Let's go to Steph's question here. And the lovely and talented Steph Dickey is asking, are reptilians working with the military, and what are they working on currently?
Again?
Are the reptilians working with the military? And if so, what are they working on together?
Okay, well, the answer would be yes. Now, it depends on which group of reptilians we're referring to in which military. But, on the whole, when you take a look at the Shazazians, they are still trying to, amazingly enough, they're trying to convince mankind, they're trying to convince the military that they're doing things completely bass-backwards and totally ineffectual. Because mankind has this funny thing on just about every continent. They've got this funny thing they call the rules of war. The Shazazians, which are a military group, you know, they're the 7.5 to 8.5 foot reptilians, right? And they've got a very simple philosophy in war. If you're going into war, strike to kill. Do not worry about the rules. If they've got their pants down, if they're in the middle of a celebration, it doesn't matter. Bomb the whole neighborhood if you're going to bomb. You do not ask. You don't worry about whether you're using the same firepower. Now, do understand, they have a much more direct outlook, where you don't have to like your neighbor. You just have to respect them. Because they are still trying to get the military to figure that one out. Thus far, to no avail. Of course, the reality is mankind is so fear-based where it comes to military war, military conflict, that they figure that you have to be able to wipe out your enemy. The Shazazians look at it and go, if you can make a friend with your enemy, you don't have to shoot them and you can get more done.
Are you sure?
Well, think of it this way. If you're trying to build a house, is it easier to build a house with 100 people working towards it, or with 2 people working towards building it and the other 4 trying to blow it up, or the other 98 trying to blow it up? It's a simple case of numbers from that standpoint.
All right. On that note, that's a good time to end it right there, because we're going to go to break here at the top of the hour. Look at that. I got my time right. More Spaced Out Radio coming up with the R Keith Andrews ET Connection with special guest Nicole Sackich as well. Hour 2 coming up. All right, you guys chat away with the YouTube crowd and everybody. I'm going to quickly run my puppies outside. I'll be right back.
Okie doke.
Wow. I'm getting coffee.
That's not a bad idea, but, you know, I've got a bigger cup than you've got.
I don't know. Mine's pretty big. I got a double Halloween mug of Jack Skellington. So.
Well, you remember the old Tim Horton mugs?
Yes, I think so.
That's the one I've got.
Oh, it is bigger than mine then.
I figure it saves me the hassle of having to get coffee more often. You know?
Right.
I like this Denali Princess in YouTube is going 32 ounce right here.
Right. Hey, that's why she's the official princess of Spaced Out Radio. She knows what's up. So, Keith, let me ask you a YouTube sidebar question. I know you've been a lifelong experiencer, but how old would you say you were, or how long into understanding what you were going through was it when you could really come up with this like definitive anthology of these guys are doing this or these guys are doing that, and this is the bigger picture of things?
When I started piecing together the chronology of it, I'd have been, in all likelihood, that's the easy part. Just took me a minute to piece it together. Roughly speaking, approximately would have been somewhere around 3 o'clock in the afternoon on August 1st of 1968.
And did it come to you like a download, or was it just?
It came to me when I was taken out of. Well, let's put it this way. That was when I had the headlong run in with the Sirzazians. That was an interesting run, and that was my first positive interaction with off-worlders. Prior to that, I'd had other ones that were just horrendous. Right. But that would have been about when it started to make sense. As far as when it started, quite literally, I was in the incubator.
I get that. So do you think part of your understanding of this was during your experiences, were you asking these beings for knowledge or for understanding?
Not exactly asking. And see, when I had the first run-in, when I had my first run-in with the Sirzazians, one in particular took me under her wing, and without my asking or anything, showed me the ropes.
Mm-hmm. So do you think you were allowed to remember then? Because I mean, so many experiencers are cloaked with this forgetfulness, or they have to go through therapy to do regression, and it comes to them more like a past memory than something that's current.
Yeah, no, I questioned that myself until I found out until I had it explained to me by my father. Mm-hmm. It has more to do with the way that my brain is put together, that my physical brain is put together, and the way that it connects, as to why they couldn't block it out altogether.
So, speaking of brains and brain activity, and I mean, I'm a big follower of, I'm sure you've heard me say it a couple times now, about your left brain inhibitor shutting down your right brain creativity or automatic acceptance of what is without giving an excuse. So do you think your brain is hardwired differently than that, to where your right brain creative, less inhibited side is more dominant than your left brain inhibitor side, or your rational side, or your critical thinking?
Speaking, you're basically right. It is hardwired different. But what it boils down to is both run on an equal pattern. when one side runs into a problem, if one side runs into damage, the other side will override.
Right.
And compensate.
That's so interesting. I'd love to hear more of your thoughts on that sometime, because I actually suffered some childhood trauma when I was almost 3 years old, and it was a massive skull fracture. And yes, I have some right brain, left brain altered activity that I've come to discover over the years.
All right, guys, we only have 40 seconds. Dave has stepped out. El Ovni Volador is back. Yes, El Ovni Volador is in the show right now. I want to say a big thank you on behalf of Dave for the super chats from Greco, Big Rob, Cat Chaser. Thank you so much for hitting up the super chat tonight. Hello, Jerry O'Brien. Third phase of Moon. Good to see you here, Mario Heat. Thank you for coming on in. The rest of you, I bow to you as El Ovni Volador is back. Here we go with hour 2.
.org. You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to the second hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Dave Scott, gone for hour 2. El Ovni Volador is my name, and I am here to bring you through with the woo. Yes, we want to welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. Don't forget, you can check out all of our archives for free by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do El Ovni a favor and hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Twaddle. Twaddle is your password. Use it wisely, space travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight we continue with the ET Connection. R Keith Andrews is here along with special guest. We have Nicole Sakic. Welcome back to the show, everyone.
Well, thanks for having us.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Good to have you here. I don't know where the heck Dave went, but we have El Ovni Volador here sitting on in. What's that, Nicole?
Completely intimidated by the full head mask. I feel like I need to go get my Batgirl cape on.
Well, you probably should, because we're not here to be intimidating. We're here to bring some woo. And here we go. Keith, question from Princess Denali. How do you get the names of all these beings?
Rough translation of the way it sounds when they tell them to me. Some of them I literally have to piece together as to what it meant, because their language is not translatable into human.
How many species are you at now?
I was just trying to figure that out, and I think I'm pushing 100 at this point. See, there were 59 in the first book, and I think I'm over 40 now in the second one.
So you're at 99.
I think so.
Are all of these species ones that you have had interaction with?
Yes. I know that does not mean I've been abducted by every one of them. A great many of them are simply on the main ships, like on the consortium ships, aka the research vessels and what have you.
How many species collaborate on the ships that you just talked about? I keep wanting to say the Federation ships.
Well, it's a good way. I mean, they call it a consortium, but Federation works. The answer to your question is roughly, and I've heard varied estimates, but roughly 2,500 different ones. Do understand they're not all on the ships at the same time. They rotate on and off depending.
Right. That's awesome.
Keith, with all the species that you have met, what's the furthest one away from Earth that is visiting this planet?
Well, the Tectonic are a fair distance away, but I think probably the furthest one away is the Corlock.
The Corlocks.
Yeah, if you take do you remember the show Space Odyssey 2001?
Yes.
That is a Corlock ship. And those guys, there is no way a human will ever be on one of those ships. Because Corlocks are complete metamorphs. You know, so they literally operate by their electric field that they personally generate, the bioelectric field. That's how they power their ships, is by weaving in between the circuit boards.
That's awesome. I heard the other day somebody commented, they asked the question if every UFO that was seen had a UFO occupant inside of it.
No.
Exactly. Multiple people answered no, but then just a few people threw out the possibility or the truth that some of these UFOs are actual beings. They're not just a ship. Part of who they are, or how they're created, or how they can manifest.
Well, exactly. And some of them look like, some are literally mechanoid. You know, as in the ships themselves are living ships. And of course, some don't come from this, they're still third dimensional. But there are different places they come from where ships are completely irrelevant.
All right, let's get to another question. Denali Princess, or Princess Denali, is asking, she says, I can see them. I just don't know what they are. How do I figure that out?
A lot of effort. Basically, it boils down to trying to piecing together, to watching what they do, watching how they behave. And when you get the opportunity, talk to them. Most of the off-worlders are actually quite nice. The problem is that they don't speak English. But it literally boils down to watching their patterns. It's kind of like watching humans. You watch them long enough and you get an idea of how they are and why they are. You know, this is one of the things that humans have completely overlooked. Because a staggering number of humans have this tendency of shooting first and asking if the person's friendly second. Which, by the way, doesn't work well.
You know, I think you bring up that's an interesting thing to say, that they don't speak English. I think a lot of us get caught up, and I'll say a lot of us in probably Western sci-fi culture get caught up in this idea, like I'll refer to my favorite sci-fi author, Douglas Adams. He wrote The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And they insert the Babelfish. And it's not a technology, it's an actual thing, and it goes into your ear and it feeds on your subconscious thoughts, and it outputs a translation for you.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I think we get caught up in thinking that all extraterrestrial or off-world beings have this automatic technology to circumvent things that we ourselves, you know, don't even adhere to, or we take for granted. I mean, I know people in Europe speak multiple languages just naturally because they grow up with multiple languages. Here we have a hard time, learning a secondary language in our secondary school, and we lose it when we don't use it. So expecting a race from off-world to just automatically know one of hundreds of languages here on Earth is kind of a big assumption, I guess.
Well, it's something that Gene Roddenberry brought up and brought to light, right, was that the biggest problem that trying to talk to off-worlders would have is there is no reference point. Okay, on Earth, it doesn't matter what country you're in. If you hold up a glass or a cup with something in it, and you hold it out to somebody and you say anything, they are going to assume, on the whole, it's an offer to drink something. Right?
Right.
Or if you put your hands up, it's pretty much a universal on Earth. You put your hands up, you're saying, I surrender. Okay, there are races that if they put their hands up, they are telling you they're about to rip your lungs out from inside of you.
Well, right. And that's where this body language association, maybe, from the human lens, can be misleading, because if we even think about our own animal kingdom, when animals show their teeth, that's a sign of aggression. But yet here, that's what we do when we're happy and when we smile and as a salutation. Some officers might look at that like, oh my God, they just showed their canines. They want to bite me. Like,
see, I mean, if you take a look at the Muldocs, they are quite happy when they smile and show their teeth. Of course, their idea of happy is they're about to rip your arm off and eat it.
Well, and what was I just thinking of? Indrid Cold, the smiling man or the smiling entity, and the way his smile was always described as like forced or almost menacing, when we associate smiles with niceness, but him posing or him being an off-worlder that just has that kind of facial expression, I guess that could be misinterpreted. And I speak from a personal place with this. Everybody kind of tells me they love my smile, and it's like, oh, your smile, everybody loves it. But the second I'm not smiling, it's like my Angelica Houston Morticia face. It's like this resting witch face that I have. And it's really like, no, I'm not in a bad mood. That's just how my normal face looks. So
sorry, it grew that way.
I promised Dave I wouldn't cuss tonight, so everybody can fill in the blanks tonight. And El Avni, I'm sure, knows what's going on.
No, the funny thing is, that's why the hybridization program was built in the first place, was to grow cultural interpreters.
Interesting.
All right, let's get to another question here. Corrins is asking, do any alien races take on human spouses or partners? And are said spouses or partners accepted into their new alien society?
The answer is yes. I mean, obviously, we cannot go with the categorical across the board. There are times that people will, that one race, one individual will take on a spouse, and then another individual will take offense to it and eat the spouse. Or they will take offense to it and kill both of them. I mean, humans have a tendency, if you don't like the spouse, you just don't associate. You don't tend to terminate.
All right. Lord of Land is asking, Keith, why do alien ships have lights? Surely they don't need them to navigate.
Oddly enough, it's actually for mankind's benefit.
Yes.
It is literally so that mankind will pay attention to the fact that mankind is not alone. Although it has taken a long time for mankind to figure that one out.
Grant calls that the theory of wow. They're here to wow us and draw attention, and along those lines. It's the theory of wow. The lights aren't
productive, really. And I've tried to explain that to them. This is why some of the ships that you see are not actually visible. You got to see them by watching the stars disappear. Because if you're trying to watch society grow, the moment you bring the attention to the fact the ship is there, it creates a problem. But what they have found, especially with the atmospheric ships, if they don't put the lights in, then planes have a tendency of exploding in the air when they run into the outer hull.
That's never any good.
It usually creates a lot of bad press.
All right, let's move on here. Big Rob is asking, Keith, what aliens are red faces?
Well, I'm still trying to translate what the heck they actually call themselves, but that is a race that literally has, they have the capacity to manipulate energy in much the way that mankind sees old magic. I heard one person call them magickers, which literally translates into that's how they operate. But I don't know a lot about them. I've seen them floating around, quite literally. But they're only a newcomer to the area.
Okay, newcomers to the area. That brings up an interesting question. Do they have to so-called check in?
Yes.
And if so, who do they check in to?
They check in with the consortium itself. They check in with the main ship, and they always send a liaison down first before bringing any numbers down. The liaison will come down and talk to the Council of 12 to make sure they're allowed to come into the area, to make sure that they're cleared for proper interaction with Terrans. You know, because unfortunately, some of them can have some pretty adverse effects on people. You know, and there's more and more of them coming in recently, primarily because of the state society is at right now. But yeah, they do have to check in, like they have to get clearance to come into the area.
All right. Do they have to clear themselves with the world governments?
You mean the Terran governments?
Yeah.
No. They don't even tell the Terran governments are in the neighborhood.
Do you think more of them get clearance to be seen because the rate of belief here is increasing?
The answer would be yes, but it's not so much more races are being permitted to as more scouting parties are being permitted to. Because in the scouting parties that come down to do the abductions, to take samples and what have you, have to get direct clearance. And there are more of them being trained because of exactly what you're referring to.
Okay, let's move on here. Princess Denali is asking, Keith, do you think there are entities that are not allowed here on Earth? If so, is there some sort of UFO police force that deals with them?
The answer to that is yes, because some of the entities are of such a negative nature. Like there's one race I know of that is they are such a bioenergy sap that they walk by a human. They don't even have to try and do anything wrong. They'll suck the life force out of them as they walk by. Okay, so they are definitively told, no, you cannot go on the planet. Those ones are banned. Something to do with the not wanting the human race to be accidentally devoured. You know, there's another race that I know of that literally gives off what you would call nuclear radiation. Okay, so again, because humans are not able to adjust to it, and these guys cannot stop it, like they can't stop themselves from doing it any more than mankind can stop from exuding pheromones. Right, they're just told flat out you can't go. Now,
Keith, earlier you talked, or somebody asked about how important intention is. So could you maybe clarify a little bit of maybe like what intentions with seeing specific and talking to a gray, how could you do that? Or if you were intent on talking to a Pleiadian or an Arcturian?
well, first and foremost, you've got to be, before they're ever going to bother trying to pick you up, the first thing they're going to do is check and find out whether you've got any sign of prejudice in you at all. If you're trying to communicate with them, they will get their scanners in to take a look at what your driving nature is. Are you trying to meet them because you are curious and just are socially exploratory, or are you trying to gain some sort of an inner understanding of their technology for some, shall we say, self-serving purpose? I.e., if you're one of these people that want to meet one of the military races, right, they will bring their scanners in because they have full-blown telepaths available.
Right. I think we need to back this off a bit, though, because I think most experiencers don't have the depth of experience that you do. Like myself, I know I'm being interacted with in some very blatant ways, but it falls into that trickster category for me, to where it's like I ask and I get what I ask for to an extent. And I've never been able to physically manifest or see these beings. And I know that it's like a trick. Like I said, it's like if I was focusing on, are you guys grays? Show me yourselves. Is it you? And they messed with me. I got almond eyes through a funnel. I didn't see beings, or it's been like a light manifestation without any discernment. So how do you maybe call forth what is interacting with you when you don't specifically know a type or what it actually is? Because I feel like I'm stabbing at the dark here, and they're giving me the middle finger, like, aha, that's not it.
I can give you a definitive answer. My eyes have always worked different.
Right.
Like, literally, I've always seen things, physically seen things in a different light. And therefore, a lot of what they try doing, because of the way that my mind is set up, what the optical nerve takes, the logic mind usually will try and wrap it into what it is. The creative mind will see what's there. Okay. In my case, if it looks funny when I'm looking at it from a logic base, I shift gears. But can I explain exactly how I do that? No, not yet. Still trying to figure out how to explain that.
Well, would you say maybe your gut instinct is probably the better choice over your rational, what your brain is maybe trying to tell you, what you're interpreting?
Most of the time, yes, but not always.
All right, guys, we only have about 10 seconds left before we go to break here at the bottom of the hour. The ET Connection with R Keith Andrews and special guest Nicole Sakic continues on Spaced Out Radio. And, of course, we will take your audience questions as well. So stay tuned. We got a great show. Lots of radio left in the ET Connection here on the Mighty SOR. clear.
I liked that last half hour.
You were fun.
Oh, thanks. My coffee kicked in. I got it the last half hour, so.
I gotta go find Dave. I'll be right back.
Yeah, Omni, go find Dave.
Yeah. El Ovni is
With here. You
El
don't have
Ovni
any.
says you guys are literally, boring the shit out of me. I'm gonna go get Dave. This is his show.
Yeah, you don't have any confrontations here. I'm not raising the eyebrow or bringing the elbow, so get on out of here.
What do you want? Nothing? I want my shit.
Oh, wrestling soap operas. YouTube chat, I compare wrestling to soap opera. Stefano, Marlena.
All right, I'm back.
Dave, yay!
Hold on, I just had to kick the bastard in the shins. Open up the window here a little bit, too.
Get in the left shin.
Oh. There we go. We're back.
Woo!
Oh. I literally had to smack his ass on the way out. Damn El Ovni Volador. He locked me in the bathroom. But I was able to break out.
That's good, because I told him if you didn't return, I was going to have to come up to Canada and bring the Illinois elbow.
Okay, we're back.
El Ovni's just an asshole. You don't want to deal with him.
I don't know. I've been watching the Iron Fist. I feel like I got some moves that I could break out, Marvel style.
Hey, gorgeous Jen A just got her red Team Stump t-shirt from the SOR Vault. That's pretty awesome.
We have returned.
Yeah, we got about 2.5 minutes or so.
Dave's back. He survived being locked in the bathroom.
I know.
Well, we're going to have to talk to Omni and teach him exactly how to actually make that work properly.
Hey, that El Ovni guy, he's a jerk.
I like it when he takes on Goof on radio. He always, goes off the old rubber bands and takes.
He doesn't. Him and Goofon don't get along. El Ovni. I'll be honest with you. El Ovni told me that he wants to suplex the living daylights out of Giordano.
Oh, I heard the backbreaker. Honestly.
Oh yeah, he's gonna give him the old Iron Sheik camel clutch, break his back, and make him humble. That's what El Ovni told me. I'm like, bud, what are you doing here?
Right? It's Rich.
He called little Richie G a punk and a jabroni.
Oh, a jabroni.
Yeah.
I don't know. The ice slicker, that's going deep.
I know. I had to calm him down. He was literally ready to run down to Phoenix with a steel chair just to hit Giordano in the back.
Oh.
I know. Rude.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't get it.
I see a marquee cage fight with this one, honestly. No holds barred. Cage you guys in. Or cage them.
I know. I don't understand it. Hi, Chemical Summer. Welcome. We got 1 minute, everyone.
They might have to make this a tag team, though. I just don't think it could be one-on-one.
Tell me about it. 45 seconds. I don't know about anybody else, but lately, ever since I switched over to the new Facebook, every time I refresh my page, I end up getting stories from like 3, 4, 5 days ago. and nothing new. Pisses me off every time. And anyways, we want to give a big shout out to Greco, Big Rob, and Cat Chaser for hitting up the super chat tonight. Really do appreciate it. We'd also absolutely love it if you guys hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell thingy, and do a little shopping like Jenna A, and do a little shopping at the SOR Vault. Grab yourself some swag today. We got new swag coming soon. Here we go. We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I'm your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Finally threw El Ovni Volador out of here. Took a steel chair, but we got him out. That's the main thing. And thank you for putting up with his wild antics. And we want to remind everybody that if you have missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Tonight we are talking with R Keith Andrews. It's the ET Connection that continues on here with Keith and our special guest, Nicole Sakic. Keith, welcome back.
Well, thank you for having me, and welcome back to everybody that's come to join us.
All right, we're going to start off with a question from Human Carl here, because we never want to confuse him with Alien Carl. Human Carl is asking, Keith, what does it mean that aliens don't speak English? I always thought that they communicate via telepathy.
Only some of them. Many of them actually don't speak any Terran language. So literally, when I said they don't speak English, I was just using that as one language. But quite a number of them, number one, don't have the capacity to speak. They cannot even form English words. So usually they bring a translator in or a telepath in to help.
All right, moving on. Ibarata, all the way from Singapore, tuning in. Thank you, my friend. Is this part of the Milky Way galaxy sparsely populated, and which part is teeming with aliens?
Well, I wouldn't exactly call this one sparsely populated to start with. But is it part of the Milky Way galaxy? Yeah. But from where we're sitting, there's another wing. If you go counterclockwise, take where we are, go around the clock to about 9. If you take where we are sitting at 6 o'clock, you go around counterclockwise to 9 o'clock, and you'll find it is a whole lot denser population over there. But this section isn't exactly not teeming. I mean, if you think about it, there's life on the moon, there's life on Vulcan, which is right next to the sun. It's actually inside the orbit of Mercury. There's life on Mars, there's life on Venus, there's life on Jupiter, and there's life on Titan. Titan being one of the moons of Saturn. And so it's not like there isn't life in the area.
All right.
Hang on.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Nicole.
I need Vulcan is on the inside of Mercury explained, because I love the Vulcan.
It's actually, NASA knows about it. Okay. It's a planet that sits just inside the sun's photosphere. It's not green men with pointy ears.
Right.
Okay, it's a crystalline race. And it's a planet that literally orbits the sun right close to the sun. Okay.
So are they physically in our dimension to where we will be able to see them someday with our technology, or are they in a different dimension? That
Well, it's all 3-dimension, but number 2, if you go to New Mexico, you can see a nesting site.
where in New Mexico I would.
Well, in New Mexico, there, and don't ask me the location of it, okay? Somebody else can figure it out on the tourist maps. There is a great big underground crystalline cave.
Check.
With huge crystals. We're talking 6 foot long, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a Vulcan nesting site.
So Superman's cave of that's
the North Pole.
in New Mexico. Not the
Understand.
Vulcan.
We're not talking about something designed for any sort of humanoid people. We are
Right.
talking literally the crystals themselves that is their nesting ground.
That's the entity. The crystals are the entity.
Yeah. They're kind of, if you think of salmon and sea turtles where they go to one place to nest,
Mm-hmm.
right? Same idea.
So these offshoots of Crystal Cave, do they spawn in any other way, shape, or form in any other parts of the planet?
In all fairness, not that. I haven't gone looking for any. I know that one is one, and I just don't do a whole lot of running around looking for it, because it's kind of like looking for a nursery in a hospital. Why would I go there?
I mean, I guess what I was meaning is like, are other crystal structures on the planet, are they maybe related to this race in some way, shape, or form?
Undoubtedly, in my eyes. However, let us understand that every crystal that is on this planet is not a Vulcan.
Gotcha. Or a subspecies of volcanism.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
It's along the lines of, every human on Earth is a mammal, but every mammal on Earth is not a human.
Correct. And I guess my line of thinking with this is crystals come up often, whether they're used as like a storage facility or some sort of energy transference or fuel.
Yeah.
And so to hear of, and I kind of follow the line of thinking that everything has some sort of consciousness or a construct of consciousness. So for crystals to be able to hold a life force or a memory or information or be an actual being, like that's not too far of a stretch for me in that sense. But it also, it just makes me ponder like these other uses for crystals that we've heard about. Like, is that another race using Vulcan beings to a technological means, or is that just another version of crystals, like they're for their technology?
Usually the crystals you use for technology are not sentient. It's really a bad idea to take something that can generate a high intensity light form just by thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Put it inside your electronic base.
So it wouldn't be like a symbiosis of like, I mean, I know there's some creatures that, live off other creatures or that kind of cohabitation exists. So it wouldn't be anything where like a Vulcan entity would be used by another race knowingly or, with permission.
Well, they do work together, but this is where we get into that really funny area that the answer is sort of yes, it can be done and sometimes is. But that's usually a symbiotic arrangement or a cooperative arrangement, if you will.
Okay. It's just another pop culture thought I had was I was watching a show where a lady was able to channel a being via an octopus like attached to her brain and various parts of her body. It was like the octopi was the conduit for her to be able to speak through dimensions. So I just thought that was interesting. I didn't know if maybe the Vulcan beings could be used in that capacity as maybe a apparatus, a bridge of sorts.
Well, technically they could be, but then again, you could use a whole lot of humans to make a bridge across the chasm. It's not necessarily a nice idea, but it works.
Right.
All right, let's move on to another question here because they are building up. Greco is asking, which planets, alien worlds, actually have cloud cities, Keith?
Well, can I give you an exact location? No. But there are a number of them that actually have especially when you start getting into the lighter realms, if you will. There are some where they literally have the floating cities. Come to think of it, oh, of course. I'm thinking, like, where the heck? You've actually seen them. They actually bring them here. The Muldocs have a... Have you ever seen a ship that looks kind of like a Colosseum?
Not since Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Okay, I've seen them, but you take a look at the ones that look sort of like a Colosseum. That's a Muldoc ship. It's a Muldoc generation ship. Because what they do is they build their cities, and because of the way the society is built, when the if you will, air traffic gets too dense, somebody heads off looking for deep space exploration. But they're called generation ships. That means they got just... Go ahead.
Do you think some of these generation ships have weaved their way into mythology in some way, shape, or form over the centuries? Like, I'm thinking of Shangri-La, like how it appears, in the mountains and not a specific location, but it's very obviously a place that you can be taken to if you follow the lore. Do you think that's a representation of city ships?
Yep.
Awesome.
All right, let's move on to a new question here. And this one comes from, let's make a choice here. Flesh Wound is asking, Keith, have any, if any, off-Earth species have gone extinct? How many are endangered?
I could not begin to tell you how many are endangered, but I can tell you the common thought that the Greys are in trouble. It's kind of like saying rabbits on Earth are in danger of becoming extinct. Like there are a number that have gone extinct. As a matter of fact, one race I can think of right offhand. I'm just trying to think. We've actually got skeletons of them here. There is and I'm just, quite frankly, my memory is not what I would like it to be on occasion. There we go, the Zeron. The Zeron are a race that are extinct. And the reason I said we've got skeletons here, if you take a look, there are some, if you look in the archives and what have you, you'll find pictures of something that looks like it's got a dual brain. It's got a split skull that almost looks like a heart, if you will. And I don't mean the one in your body. Right, but that race is extinct. They are, and so are the ones that have a conic head.
Okay. Let's move on here. And let's go to Jenny's question. Do aliens ever discuss what is happening on Earth or about our planet, raising its dimension?
That is one of the biggest jokes they've got going on up there. Do they discuss what's going on with the planet? Yeah. But mankind is not, Earth is not raising to a higher dimension. Okay. Talk about the quickest way to wipe out a planet. Is mankind evolving to theoretically a higher consciousness? If they survive the transition, the answer is yes. But it's not the planet that is moving into a new dimension. Okay, but yeah, the off-worlders quite regularly discuss how mankind is evolving, what they're waking up with, what they're figuring out, and how much of a threat they are to themselves and the rest of the cosmos.
All right.
This is one of the reasons why, and the Martokians are very heavily involved in that. The Martokians are actually around here quite regularly. They literally send over shiploads of students.
Oh, the education they'll get here of what not to do.
But yeah, do they discuss it? Absolutely.
All right, Greco is asking, do any aliens refuse to use certain technology or preferred modified animal technology like in the movie Dune?
Well, some literally will not, some will refuse any sort of technology. Some will refuse to associate with different races just because of their genetics. You know, and some it's just fatal for them to interact with each other. Like you'll never find a fire elemental and a air and a water elemental interacting. At least not without somebody dying. But there are ones. It's usually more an issue of individuals that refuse to use certain technologies than races themselves.
Right. Okay. Nikki is asking, do the ET races talk about what's going on? What about what's about to happen in the angel realms?
Absolutely. Considering the Angelists themselves are kind of interested in what mankind is doing. The Angelists are the ones in the angel realms. So they're kind of interested in what's going on there. You know? But there's always an interest, an interaction on that level.
So, Keith, what's up with the angels or angelics only going by a few names? They don't like to, is it that they don't like to be individualized, or is it something like there's just like a whole battalion of Michaels or Gabriels, or do they just go, is that like a unit name, or?
No, the thing is, they just don't announce the names much. The archangels absolutely will tell you that's my name, but they've gotten to a rank where it matters. And yeah, there undoubtedly are more than one that are called Michael, but only one is allowed to say, I am Michael, the archangel.
Right. And so this fleet of them that we believe are like guardian angels that are, like we have one, you have one, everybody has like this specific guardian angel, yet they remain nameless. Is that because they're just pulling some like rank and file duty, to where they remain nameless, or is that because they actually change all the time, or is it a specific one for each of us, or how does that work?
Well, number one, usually like the concept of a guardian angel is it's not just the Angelists that are guardian angels. Okay, your guardians, they're seen as angels, the same as people will see somebody that does something really nice for another, sees a human that does something really nice for another human as an angelic person. It boils down to a guardian angel being somebody that is helpful, but it does not mean that they themselves are angelics.
So it might be they're caught in the moment and just decide to intervene or help out a situation. So it might not be even the same entity all the time that you would associate.
Well, no, when you get somebody that is coming down as your primary guardian angel, you usually get one that is a primary, and then you'll have a few that come in at different times of your life, depending. that'll come in to help with different aspects. But the dominant one will come in to watch and help you on the whole. But there is a trade-off. Usually people have, at any given time, they've usually got 3.
I was just going to ask how many are usually at play, which that might lead to why there's confusion amongst if you're dealing with one entity or thing. I've always had the inclination that no, it's not just one specific thing I'm dealing with. So
no, you're dominant.
I'll have to what?
You'll have one dominant, and then the other 2 will swap in and out depending.
Well, that plays into that whole trickster element that I was talking about earlier, even with and I don't mean trickster like it's a joke or it's something bad or I'm getting duped all the time, but it's more along that lines of, no, that's not really quite right. It's like if I ask specifics, it's like, yeah, you're close, but that's not really it, So interesting.
The funny thing is, when you ask them questions, you've got to make certain you're asking the question you actually want the answer to.
Oh, I know. I think there's a lot of hesitation in what I ask because in my background brain, there's always the 17 questions as opposed to the one specific thing that I need to ask and focus on. So I'm trying. It's a process.
Oh, yeah.
But I know I'm very cautious with that. You ask something, but you get what you need, not what you necessarily ask for. So
very much the case.
All right, we only got about a minute here or 2 minutes here, guys. Let's get to another question. Sneak one in here, if you don't mind. All right, and Gnome Squatch is asking, what do aliens call us?
Usually they refer to you as Solarians. That is the general term. You're either from Sol 4 or you're literally a Solarian. Right. Bear in mind, Martokians are Solarians as well, but they're Solarians from Sol 5. Vulcans are Solarians off of Sol 1. Sol, in case you hadn't figured it out, is the sun. But that's, on the whole, what they refer to them as.
Okay.
So a Solarian would be any race that is around a sun or needs a sun.
Around this sun.
Oh, our specific sun. Okay.
Yeah, they're the ones that are around this specific sun.
So when you say like Solaris 1 or Solarian 5 or what you just mentioned, what's the number?
Refers to the orbital location of the body that you're living on. Earth is in the 4th orbit. Therefore, it's referred to as Sol 4. It's that simple. The closer they are to the sun, the lower the number. So
like Vulcans would be a Solarian 1 because they're with Mercury.
Yep.
All right.
Awesome.
Nicole, Keith, I'm going to get you to hold on because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. We have the ET Connection with R Keith Andrews and special guest Nicole Sakich for another 30 minutes here on Spaced Out Radio. Then I'm going to bring you the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Dave, as it is a jam-packed hour 3 of Spaced Out Radio coming up with the ET Connection, the news from Shirky Poo, and the Thought of the Dave. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues after this. All right, we're clear. I'll be right back, guys.
Okie doke. Ouch. So do you want to run off?
Oh no, I'm still here. I'm reading the chat.
Yeah, I'm just trying to find the chat again. There we are. Nope, that was not it. I got 3 screens on the go and I can't always track where I am, so this is why I do not understand how Dave does it.
I only have 2 going tonight, so the chat is moving kind of fast. Everybody needs to like and subscribe. That's my shameless plug for the night.
No, it's comical with a lot of what I've seen, but unfortunately, a lot of it. Yeah, I like this in YouTube. Kimberly Jack Shaw goes, I think you mean Krypton. So I'm thinking somewhere in there we're tying. See, Krypton is not. I know what they're referring to. The theory is that Krypton existed where Young was pulled apart and now orbits Saturn.
Gotcha. The rings, yes.
Yeah. Is it essentially correct? Yes. However, Kryptonians were not Superman.
What were they more like if they weren't like the super fella?
Well, they did have the higher technology. Problem was they didn't pay attention to the signs. You know, and I mean, and the reality was, well, they eventually did because they ended up leaving there about the same time as the Terrans left Earth and headed for Mobius. So yeah, I mean, if you ever get over Mobius, it's a fabulous place.
Every time you say Mobius, I think of Moby, the DJ, like spinning some cosmic beats that's just like driving the universe.
Well, sad to say, I have no idea who he is. But Mobius is a planet on the other side of the sun in the exact matched orbit to Earth, which means nobody on Earth will ever see it directly.
Right. That's awesome. Keith, you always give me homework after these programs and shows, so now you have homework. You get to YouTube Moby.
Well, this is where I will follow the same rule I did when I was in school. I have never yet researched a race or anything that we talk about. I've never taken the time to research any of it.
He's just a brilliant musician, I would say. Like, he's probably one of those artists that the phenomenon works through, if you want to know the truth. So it's not really heavy homework.
Yeah. No, this is where I get into flack with people. It's like, where did you research that? Well, I didn't.
Right.
You know? It's kind of like trying to research near-death experiences. I just went and died and came back.
Well, and that's what a lot of it really is. I mean, you can read all the books you want, even on near-death experiences, but until you sit with somebody who's dying or interview sick people, you're never really going to know. Or, you know, best case, worst case scenario is you're never going to know unless you actually survive it yourself. So
I won't say I exactly survived it. I mean, I ended up in the morgue, so apparently I died rather well. It's just they diagnosed me dead. I didn't agree, so I left.
Well, there you go.
It was just the timing that was priceless. Because when you look at the timing of it, that was August 1st of 68. Right. And I got up and left the morgue itself. Right. Well, you got to be dead a long time to get into the morgue. But the hilarious part of it is in late 66, early 67, the original Dawn of the Dead came out. Which does, when you think about it, explain why the technician that was in the morgue when I got up and left, why he passed out.
Well, yeah.
All right, we got 1 minute, guys. 1 minute.
So did you leave barefoot, or did they have shoes there for you already? How far into the morgue were you?
Oh, I was on a table in there.
He was toe tagged.
That's crazy. I love it.
Yeah, trust me on this one. My shrink told me I'm perfectly sane.
Well, so that's a good block of time before you're pronounced dead and before you're on the table with a toe tag. So consciously, while your physical body was that, where was your non-physical self?
We got to hold off on that because we're back in like 15 seconds here, guys.
Woo!
Woo! All right. 10 seconds. Thank you to everybody participating in the Super Chat. Thank you to everybody who's given us a thumbs up tonight. Support our show by shopping at the SOR Vault. Here we go with Hour 3.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. I'm Dave Scott, hanging out with all of you, and there's no place I would rather be. Thank you for sharing your time with us. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America and digitally on TalkStream Live and Revolution Radio. All of our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Twaddle. Twaddle is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. For the final time tonight, we introduce R Keith Andrews and special guest Nicole Sakic for the ET Connection. We do it near the beginning of each month, where we talk all things extraterrestrial, taking your questions about everything that is riding on the Woo train. Keith, Nicole, welcome back.
Well, thank you for having us.
All right, let's start with some audience questions right off of the hop here, because that's what we love to do around here. Robert is asking, is there any connection between aliens and Bigfoot in your opinion, Keith?
Well, yeah, they're both non-human. No, more specifically, Bigfoot is an ancient race that evolved on Earth. But there is another race called the Wara, which look very similar to Bigfoot. And they are off-worlders, but they are extremely violent. So is there a connection between the two? In similarity, yes, but they are actually two very different races.
All right, let's move on here. Princess Denali is asking, what's the name of the benevolent race of reptilians?
That would be the Surzathians. They are the most benevolent of the bunch. Okay, those of you 7.5 to 8.5 foot reptilians, they're warrior class. Very honor bound. They are actually allies to humanity. You also, the Zotar are another benevolent race, although they're a little on the short side, as in about 6 inches tall.
All right. Pair of questions here. Lord of Land is asking, how do you talk to your guides? And then Chemical Summer followed it up with, if it is a guide you're getting your info from, how credible is it?
Well, okay, how do I talk to my guides? Is quite directly. Okay, sometimes via thought line, sometimes I literally sit down and talk to them depending on the day of the week and what we're up to. As far as how credible it is, Well, I'm still breathing after this long, so I figure it works well enough for me.
All right. Corrins is asking, I want to know about the angelic alien or the angelic alien races. Are you saying that the angels of the Bible are based on them?
Boy, there's a loaded question. For lack of a better way of putting it, we'll go with yes. But the reality of it is a whole lot more complicated. The Angelus race are very much like what the Bible describes, and they are a very passionate race. You know, but were they why mankind decided to use them as a template? That I cannot speak to. Although I will tell you that there are the angels that they talk about, such as Archangel Michael, is a very real angel. Okay, and do understand, Michael is not his actual name; it's an English translation for it. Okay, which I'm pretty certain people can understand that one quite, all too well.
Keith, Denali Princess is asking where she could find your book.
That you can either, if you take a look at my YouTube channel, it'll give you an address. If you just literally contact me at Inner Voice Enterprises at yahoo.ca, I'm the only one you can actually get it through. It's got to come directly through me anyway.
Inner Voice or Intervoice?
Inner Voice, as in INNERVOICEENTERPRISES at yahoo.ca.
Thank you, buddy. Appreciate that. Always appreciate that. G-Girl is asking, do aliens have free will?
Yes. On the whole, they do. I mean, there are some races that are more of a hive mind than anything else. But on the whole, they have free will. See, the important factor is that is the greatest gift that was ever given to any of them, was free will. Which is why it's difficult to get them all going in the same direction.
All right. I think we're caught up on questions so far. Oh, no, Greco has one. Way to hop that in. And that is, are there microscopic intelligent aliens?
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, the Archon, I believe it is. Yeah, the Archon is literally. They are they're what humans would call a parasite, but they are their own individual, and they will literally use whatever host body they can get. They can, in most corporeal bodies they can utilize, right, and they just adapt accordingly.
All right, Nathan on Twitter is saying, or is asking, what archives do you mean, R Keith? Dual brains, skeletons?
Which are when I was referring to archives, we were probably referring to take a look at mankind's records. There are skeletons on this earth that have a huge skull that looks like it almost looks like a heart, as in the traditional Valentine's heart type thing. Exactly where you would find them, where you'd find the information on the net, I have no idea.
All right, let's move on to another question from Nathan, who is asking, does CE5 contact actually work to really see and make contact with off-worlders?
I've heard varying reports on that. I'm still trying to figure out what CE5 is. And again, because of the fact I don't research any of it, it runs into a bit of a problem for me. But from what I gather, a lot of people have said it works like a charm. I never bothered using it. I just started off the old-fashioned way. Which, by the way, wasn't necessarily a good idea.
All right, let's move on here. Let's see here. We got one from Steam Train Mark in Australia. Keith, do you know what sci-fi shows have got alien races correct in appearance?
Yeah, I can give you a couple of them. When you take a look at, Avatar is an excellent example. You take a look at what was it called? What was it? Arrival or The Arrival? Just trying to think here. I was actually just working on that just earlier today. Here we are, because I've got actually in the second edition, I've actually got in volume 2, I've actually got them listed off. But if you take a look at Close Encounters of the Third Kind, the original one, you'll find the Greys, both the scientist and the controller Greys. If you watch the show Alien starring Sigourney Weaver, welcome to the Chick-Chocks. Arrival, you'll see the Udina. You take a look at Jupiter Ascending, and you'll see a Tormenon. Predator, that's your Maldogs. Okay, and when you take a look at a really odd show called Descent, or more to the point, Descent 2, you'll actually see the Barandi and the Barandigar. Those are the ones I know of. Now, oddly enough, and most people don't consider them, they consider them a joke. The funny part is they're not. The Econ and the Ecodal are both. If you ever watched Star Trek, the original series, The Trouble with Tribbles, the Econ are the Tribbles. They are an actual race. And yeah, they are as prolific as they show in the book or in the movie.
All right, Joe is asking, Keith, can you give us any tips on piloting or carjacking a UFO in case we are ever given the chance?
Yeah, don't. Number one, first of all, most of them are done using a biometric flux holographic interface, which means unless you are in dominant control of your thoughts and your entire biochemical signature matches the pilot, that ship ain't going anywhere. Okay. The other problem is, on Earth, if you steal a car, they arrest you. They may fine you, that sort of thing. You steal a starship, they just terminate you.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they're pretty possessive that way.
So, Keith, what would you know about training programs for flying crafts? There are lots of experiencers that talk about undergoing specific training or learning lessons on how to pilot craft. What do you know about that?
Well, the Greys actually do let you do that. The Martokians are more inclined to teach you. Of course, the Martokians are not happy when people try and hijack them. When you get into with some of the races, like if you take a look at, and it's not a race, it is simply a sector of the consortium. Radio command is actually the people that do most of the training for starship handling. And they do train them because they are trying to bring mankind up to speed. And part of it is on the technology side of it. You know, but they go through extreme testing. You know, they may show you the controls to start with, but what the experiencers may not tell you is the amount of testing they go through to make sure that interfacing with the vehicle or with the drive system isn't going to shatter the mind.
Right. And experiencers that I have spoken with on this topic have spoken that this training started in early childhood, and in ways that they didn't even necessarily correlate with flight or maneuvering, I should say, that it was more basic at that young age, but they've seen it progress, or as they've passed lessons or certain tests, then they've been allowed to move on with their capabilities. So would you say that that's probably because these craft, like you said, are so intertwined with our mental brains and what we can handle?
Ultimately, yes. You see, a lot of the ships, well, the ones that they use, like I said, they use a biomagnetic flux holographic interface, meaning they use the firing of the neurons, the shock wave that those firing neurons have to interact with the holographic interface.
Right.
In order
That's
to make
how I've heard it described. It's like your human body power adds to the ship's power, or goes hand in hand with how you interface with the mechanism.
Yes, that is literally what they're doing, and this is why the people you've been talking to are absolutely on the money when they say they started early. Because they've got the ability to spot where your strength is. You know, where your natural propensity is, whether or not you'd make a good pilot, whether you would make more of a gunner or a research specialist. They literally take a look at what your brain is configured like to figure out which way they go.
Keith, just for a little side chuckle of mine, would you say more men or women are capable of piloting craft with their left brain, right brain capabilities?
Would you believe me if I said no?
Well, you can't say no to either. I said ask men or women.
Yeah, I actually can. Because men and women actually think almost identical. They just process it a little differently. The reality is the split between the males and females that can pilot is pretty even.
I could see that, definitely. Because like we said, it starts at such an early childhood age that left brain, right brain, male, female way of thinking is kind of not built in yet at that young age. So I can see that.
See, the funny thing is, if you actually look at it from a logical, creative side instead of male-female, it would make more sense. But it's actually common. It's the ones that are balanced between the two that make the best pilots.
You're spot on there. I would say that the balance between the male and female is what anybody is trying to achieve when they separate it that way. Because you're right, it is more of the left brain, right brain, creative versus analytical, not necessarily male female. So it all comes down to balance of the force.
Essentially correct.
All right.
See, the part is, if you do it wrong, you can actually blow up the deck instead of launching the missile. You can blow up the deck.
All right, let's get to another question here from our audience, because we do want to include them. Steam Train Mark, we got your question, I believe, about the races. Okay, Corrance is asking, what about the Battle of Los Angeles? Are there alien species like them in the movie?
In all fairness, now that's a cute question. I'm going to have to go back and look at it. I know I watched it a while ago. Because I remember the machines are absolutely on the money. But I honestly am going to have to go back and take a look. So I cannot give you an answer to that right now. Unfortunately, no. But drop me a line. And, well, what I'll do is I'll post it, and as soon as I remember what it is, as soon as I've taken a look at the show.
Desiree wants to know, how sexy are the Venusians, really?
Well, that depends on who you ask. The males just don't do a whole lot for me. But quite frankly, where it comes to appeal, they definitely have the only ones that are quite frankly in better shape from a human standpoint. Although the Venusians are almost a pale blue in color, but from a human standpoint, they are slightly, in my opinion, they're slightly better looking than what the Orions are. But they are definitely ranking up there in the model class. And of course, then you take a look at the Amazonians, and then you start getting into the real carried away side.
Okay, let's move on to another question from our audience here. Back to Singapore for Ibarata. Have the aliens given us any technology, or did we invent all of it ourselves?
Oh no, they actually gave stuff. It's just mankind didn't bother releasing what they were given. Most of the technology that was given was healing technology and communication gear. But the technology, if you're wondering about computers and what have you, I have no doubt it was inspired by what the off-worlders could do. But the reality is, most of the technology that mankind uses, especially that is in public view, is built by man. The reason being, the off-worlders, although they were pressed to give higher technology and higher weaponry, because of the way that mankind dealt with things, they flat out refused to give them weapons. So the weapons that mankind has built are mankind's design. And quite frankly, according to the off-worlders, very underpowered and very misguided on what their use is.
Okay, let's move on here to another question from our audience. And let's go to Desiree again, because she just hopped in. And she was like, your description of benevolent types of grays, which is right as she came in, is it can there be a comparison made to the Kentucky goblin sightings that have happened for those type of ETs?
I'm not sure. Oh, wait a minute. I think, is there not a YouTube video?
Yes, Hellier.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that would be the Berondi, which are not the Greys.
Well,
the goblins themselves. Okay, the Berondi and the Berondigar. The Berondi are your little goblins. What you would call the little goblins, little tiny short things. Right, the Berondigar are just a slightly bigger version of the same thing.
Well, there you go.
But they are not Greys.
R Keith Andrews, Nicole Sackage, thank you for coming on the ET Connection once again, and we will do it all again next month. Keith, Inner Voice Enterprises at yahoo.ca is the best way to get a hold of you for your book or anything.
Yes.
Awesome. Nicole, we'll talk to you very soon as well.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Keith. This was fun as always.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much, both R. Keith Andrews and Nicole Sackage, our special guest coming in for the ET Connection. We will do it all again at the beginning of next month, because that's what we love to do around here. Coming up next, we have the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Dave. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. Good show, guys.
Thank you so much.
That went fast.
It did go really fast.
Yes. Kind of impressed with that one. Keith,
I am always like skull blown whenever we end our chats. I'm always just like, oh my gosh, I learned so much.
She got wooed, Keith. She got wooed.
Always peak woo.
I'm tired. Ugh. I got another hour of work. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice?
3 or 4. See, I don't work tomorrow, so tonight I'll be up until probably 2 or 3 in the morning.
Not this kid, man. I got another hour and 15 minutes, and then I am lights out. I am literally going riding all weekend. So I'm working in the morning, leaving, hopefully, if it's slow tomorrow, leaving work early, and then going riding in the forest. Then I was going to go get more firewood on Sunday, but I said, screw it. I'm going to take a day off and just take a me day and go for a long, 8-hour drive.
Ooh. Dave, are you going to check your gifting spot?
Oh, yeah, of course. I'm checking my gifting sites this weekend. Of course I am. Yeah.
What present are you bringing?
I don't know. I may try and change things up. You know, if I could ever rip El Ovni Volador's mask off next time I see the jerk, maybe I would do that. Take his mask over there.
Just take a 6-pack of Kokanee.
I have thought of leaving beer. Beer.
You know, Dave, I left beer on top my rock pile as a thank you during my experience.
Did they go?
It was more like you know how I was being kind of spoken to, and it was like, no, leave your tablet or take that book with you. I ran down from the rock pile and I was putting all my gear in the back of my car, all kind of giddy. And it was like that voice. It was like, take the beer to the top, say thank you. And so I was like, oh, holy shit. So I grabbed one of my beers. I ran it up to the rock pile and I said, thanks. So.
But did it disappear?
I went back and checked and it was gone. I can't say that another human, didn't go and get it, but I mean, come on, it's a 20-foot tall rock pile.
True.
Who really goes to the top of that besides the
Weirdos?
Half crazy UFO chick? So
true. Very true. Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe
I like the gifting thing.
Maybe I will bring some beer tomorrow.
Just remember, you don't leave just the empty bottles.
That's true. Mine was full. You leave the real deal.
Oh, yeah.
I looked at it this way. Beer has been around since the beginning of mankind in some way, shape, or form. We haven't had a civilization without beer. So it's a good gift. It's a universal gift. Stands the test of time.
Very true.
You want to try something really nice? You want a nice alcohol? Try honey mead.
Honey anything, I think, goes hand in hand with that beer part.
Yeah. I used to think the same thing about ketchup until I tried one meal. No, my cousin used to swear by ketchup and ice cream.
Ew.
Well, that was what I found out, but I was always taught never judge something until you've tried it. So I tried it. Just do yourself a favor, don't.
Oh.
All right, guys, I got to go. I got to get ready for the news here. Much love to both of you. And Keith, we will talk to you on November 5th.
November 5th?
November 5th. Or hold on, the 6th. Sorry, the 6th.
Well, we may well talk on the 5th. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, buddy. Talk to you guys later.
I'm on ketchup and ice cream.
Ew.
Yeah, go ahead.
Ew.
That's right.
You.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
There we go. They're gone. Bye. See ya. See ya. Goodbye. Good timing. Nicole and Keith, beautiful people. We're lucky to have them with us in our SOR family here. Here we go. We rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really do appreciate it. Want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Speaking of the news, let's do this thing, shall we? The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the far out there. A Utah man stole a truck because he said he wanted to rendezvous with aliens, but then he felt bad for taking it. He later returned the truck to the 7-Eleven store. Bryce Gerald Dixon has been accused of theft and 3 attempts to escape an officer custody. He told police that he needed the red pickup truck that he returned so that he could get to the Coliseum to get on a flight with alien diplomats. Boy, does this story fit tonight. Dixon planned to drive the pickup all the way to the Coliseum, but upon feeling bad for taking the vehicle, he returned it. The owner of the vehicle called it in stolen after leaving it unlocked for a quick stop at the store, calling 911. Police responded to the call and got to the scene to investigate. Once an officer arrived at the convenience store, he was met by the owner of the truck. The owner told him that a man suspected of taking it returned it and that he was running from the location. The officer used his radio and another officer took the suspect into custody. The suspect was taken to the hospital for an injury due to the owner of the pickup truck punching him in the face. Once in hospital care, Dixon tried to slip past officers several times. He apologized to the police, but told them that these damn aliens needed him to get to the Coliseum. He was being booked to the Utah County Jail on suspicion of theft of a motor vehicle and for the 3 counts of attempted escape. No, he won't be making it to the aliens, but at least the truck was returned. If you didn't think this year could get any stranger, just wait. Halloween hasn't even started yet. But we are on the run-up. Oh, yes. We are one step closer to that SOR Vegas party. Yes, we are. The Canadian federal government has announced changes to its management of the border today, providing some relief to families and couples seeking to visit loved ones while increasing some public health measures and strengthening its quarantine monitoring activities. The updates announced responded to the needs of Canadian families who have been separated from their loved ones by international borders, some of whom are facing the most difficult period of their lives, said Marco Mendicino, Minister of Immigration, Refugees, and Citizenship. The changes governing the family reunification have been broadened to include exceptions for certain extended family members of Canadian citizens and permanent residents, including couples who have been dating for at least a year, their children, grandchildren, siblings, and grandparents. The government said it would also consider potential limited release from quarantine for some visitors. Visitors will be permitted for these classes of travelers on compassionate grounds such as terminal illnesses, critical injury, or death. Details of which members of an extended family qualify for the new announced exceptions and the conditions that have to be met to secure a compassionate exception will be released on October 8th, the day the new measures come into force, the government stated. When all non-essential travel across the Canadian border was effectively banned in March, families and couples that live on both sides of the border or some where family members lived in a country that was not the U.S. were unable to see one another. On June 8th, the Liberal government loosened some of these border restrictions to allow foreign nationals to visit Canada, providing they report no symptoms of COVID-19, plan to stay for at least 15 days, and quarantine themselves for up to 14 days upon arrival. But the federal government only gave exceptions for certain classes of visitors, such as the spouse or common law partner of a Canadian citizen or permanent resident, depending on children or dependent children, parents or step-parents or spouse, guardians, or tutors. Despite those changes, many Canadians with relationships and family across the U.S. border say they remain stranded, unable to meet the criteria. They included engaged couples who did not meet the legal definition of common law spouses, and children and parents unable to spend weeks self-isolating on both sides of the border. The guidelines for visiting, which require a 15-day minimum stay for family members with 14 days in quarantine, remain an obstacle for people in some professions, such as essential healthcare workers, who said they were unable to take time off. Oh, I can't wait for the border to open. I need a Vegas fix. I do. You know, the amount I talk about Vegas, we should either A, move the show there eventually, or B, we just need to have a big party there once the border opens. I say we start with B. A Northrop Grumman Antares rocket blasted off from Virginia's eastern shore and boosted a Cygnus cargo ship in orbit loaded with 4 tons of supplies and equipment bound for the International Space Station. The most prolific equipment heading up into space? A more female-friendly bathroom? Yes. How much does a female-friendly space toilet cost? How about $23 million? When the astronauts have to go, we want to allow them to boldly go, quipped Jim Fuller of Collins Aerospace. Running 24 hours behind because of the ground software issue, the rocket's 2 Russian-built RD-181 first-stage engines thundered to life, instantly pushing the Cygnus cargo ship skyward from the Mid-Atlantic Regional Spaceport, otherwise known as Mars, at NASA's Wallop Islands, Virginia. Launching directly into the plane of the space station's orbit, the 2-stage rocket completed the climb into space in just 7 minutes, releasing the Cygnus supply ship into its planned preliminary orbit 2 minutes later. If all goes well, the spacecraft will catch up with the space station sometime Monday. Meanwhile, 27 minutes after the Antares took off, SpaceX engineers at the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida tried to fire off a Falcon 9 rocket carrying a 3rd-generation global positioning system navigation satellite for the Space Force, but the countdown was aborted on computer command 2 seconds before the engine ignition. It was the second launch abort in 2 days for SpaceX's normally reliable Falcon 9 program, following a scrub at the T-18 second mark this past Thursday that grounded another Falcon 9 carrying 60 Starlink internet satellites. There's no immediate word what went wrong in either case for SpaceX. Sticking with SpaceX, hold on, let me get rid of this ad here. 2 residents of Boca Chica Village, Texas, say that SpaceX has given them a Friday deadline to accept an offer to buy their houses. Elon Musk's SpaceX is trying to force longtime residents out of their homes in the small community. Boca Chica Village is up the road from SpaceX's Texas Launch Center, and representatives from the company have given residents until Friday to accept their most recent offer on their home. The homeowners tell the news that SpaceX's offers are insultingly low, and they're not budging. SpaceX has been trying to buy the property owned by the people of Boca Chica Village for more than a year. It initially offered residents what is said to be 3 times their appraised value of their homes, roughly $150,000. Some people took the money, but many residents said no. SpaceX then reduced the offer 2 times the home's appraised value. The beach is part of the wildlife preserve and is one of only undeveloped beaches in Texas. The community is near SpaceX's launch facility. So this is getting real interesting because literally SpaceX's senior director of finance told Boca Chica Village residents that this would be their final and best offer and threatened the company would need to pursue alternative means to obtain their homes if the people of Boca Chica Village turned down the money. Finley sent out emails to the residents who were holding out and spoke with some of them on the phone. As a follow-up to our recent discussions, I am writing to confirm SpaceX's offer to purchase your property. Finley's email said, I note that this past weekend marked the 1-year anniversary of our initial offer to purchase your property. During that time, SpaceX has endeavored to ensure a fair and equitable process for all residents located within the designated South Texas spaceport at Boca Chica Beach. In addition to the tremendous community support SpaceX has received, I have enjoyed getting to know you personally over the last year. It's been a pleasure to learn about your connection to the area, answers your questions, review the basis for the purchase offer, etc. In other words, what he's saying is, look, I tried to be a nice executive. I even took my tie off, and you didn't fall for it. Now I'm cranky. Now I'm lowering my offer. And then if that doesn't work, I'm taking you to court so that way you can lose your home for nothing that you did wrong. That's what he's saying. This guy's a jerk. Absolute jerk. So one resident named Celia says, I turned down the offer because it's not enough. I don't want to become a millionaire or get rich. I just want enough so that I can go to another coastal area 1.5 miles from the ocean, buy a 3-bedroom brick ranch like I have now. I'm not saying it's worth a lot, but for the amount of money, you can't find anything close to this, said resident Mary Bloomer. We're not asking for $1 million. We just want fair compensation. Garcia did not buy Finley's argument that Boca Chica Village is in a dangerous space. Both she and Bloomer said that SpaceX has remodeled and repainted some of the homes other people sold last year. They said that sometimes SpaceX employees even stay at these homes. Garcia said that Finley told her on the phone that the FAA was involved. He said that this has been declared a dangerous area by the FAA. If it's a dangerous area, why are they remodeling the homes they purchased instead of demolishing them? Why are they putting in a new septic system? Why did they advertise for a project coordinator to make this into a resort area with a bar and restaurant? Are they willing to endanger everybody else but us? Good point. Yeah. Anyways, like I said, this guy Finley here, he seems like a real rat bag, and, he needs a good shaking. And I hope they stand tall. Love this story. Love it. Now, I'm not a big Guinness Book of World Records fan, so to speak, but something like this, I commend the person for doing it. And I'm not even being sarcastic this time. Why? Because a 103-year-old man became the Guinness World Record holder for the oldest tandem skydive when he jumped out of a plane in Texas. Alfred, who goes by Al Blatchke, who went skydiving for the first time in 2017 to celebrate his 100th birthday, made good on a promise to return to the sky 3 years later to celebrate his twin grandsons graduating from college. Blatchke jumped out of the plane at 14,000 feet while strapped onto Don Cameron, a certified tandem jump instructor at Skydive Spaceland San Marcos. The Centurion landed safely on the ground about 5 minutes later. Everything went perfect, Blatchke said. Skydiving is a very safe sport these days. Statistically, it's more dangerous to get snacks out of a vending machine. If you're 103 years old, you should be able to do this no problem. Because the worst case scenario is you go splat and you've already hit the century mark. All right? It's okay. You lived a good life. But either way, very good for a a centurion to break the Guinness World Record. 103 years old, jumping out of a plane. I'm 47 and I will not do it. Will not. Residents of Hell, Michigan have put out an offer for the chance to be mayor of Hell for one day by renting out a specially outfitted lair on Airbnb. John Cologne, the self-proclaimed mayor of the town, which has no official mayor actually, says his mayor's lair, tiny house, will be available for 3 one-night stays that come with his unofficial title for 24 hours. I am the biggest Halloween fan in the world and the underworld, so I hope that our little slice of paradise can fill fellow Halloween lovers with all of the frightful chills and spooky sensations of the season, Cologne said. And to our guests and soon-to-be mayors, I trust that you will find there is no place more welcoming than hell on earth. We can't wait to show you a hell of a good time. Lots of puns there. The mayor's lair includes a queen-size bed, Gothic-style sitting area, fire pit, outdoor movie screen, and a supply of locally grown pumpkins to carve. If I'm mayor for a month or for a day, there is no way I'm wasting that time carving pumpkins. All right? No way. Gonna have a party. Property is listed for the nights of October 18th to 21st and 24th. Each stay costs $31 in honor of Halloween taking place on October 31st. Yeah, this is one long overdue book, man. A British library said someone returned a pair of books, including an early Thomas the Tank Engine book, 48 years after their original due date. The Basingstoke Discovery Centre in Hampshire, England, said the books were mailed to the library along with an apologetic note from a person who checked them out nearly half a century ago. The books were the Railway Series number 22, Small Railway Engines, a classic Thomas the Tank Engine book by Rev W. Audrey, and Learning with Color Architecture, The Great Art of Building by Truant Copplestone. We inadvertently took these with us when we moved from Basingstoke in 1972. Please accept my apologies for the late return of these items, read the note, which was signed Andy. The library states the late fees for the books would total over $10,800 by the current rates, but the facility put a moratorium on late fees in April due to COVID-19. Fortunately, we're just happy to see those books again, the library said. And finally tonight, police in Pennsylvania came to the assistance of a sanitation crew when their garbage truck arrived at the police department with a hitchhiking bear on top of it. The Kidder Township Police Department posted photos to their social media showing the bear riding on top of the garbage truck that pulled into the department's parking lot. We could only assume it was sick of going for the small amounts of trash in the garbage pails and went for the big prize, Officer Moreau stated. Of course it did. It's a bear. They're not stupid. They may be lazy, but not stupid. Police said the truck backed up against a tree and the bear safely climbed down on its own and waddled away. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages and read your responses on the air because we love the audience participation around here. Yes. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. What's the best woo story of 2020 so far? Caden, the 40-plus horses that were mutilated over in France. Alex Mistretta, he put a shirt on today, so obviously he's a little down and depressed. Because doesn't matter. Until there's money available and qualified people are paid to investigate, they're all just stories we can't do anything about. Thanks, Alex. Take your shirt off next time. Yeah, Alex, he gets cranky when he has to wear a shirt. I don't know why. Just does. I asked him the other day, I said, well, why do you get so cranky if you have to wear a shirt? It's because he played beach volleyball all the time, and he goes surfing. California guy. Davey, that quantum entanglement has been successfully demonstrated on sizable objects across large distances. It makes mainstream science full of woo. Steven. Actually, nope. Too political for this show, so we ain't going there. Lee. The scientists look into the real woo of quantum entanglement and particle physics. These guys and girls are actually quantifying woo in fields that could and perhaps are in real time fundamentally changing our concepts and expanding our horizons. Thank you, Major Lee, for that. Let's go over to Twitter. Marty, one of our favorite veterans who listens to this show, and we love each and every one of you veterans who takes this show in and enjoys the night of festivities with us. He goes, the revelation right here on hashtag Spaced Out Radio that R Keith Andrews actually had a female interested in him at one time. Just have never been able to rack my brain around that one. Oh, come on. Keith is a nice guy. He's a nice guy. He is. You and him should share hair stories. You got nice hair, Marty. Keith has nice hair. Maybe you could share some styling tips with each other. Kev, the one you haven't heard yet, mine, my daily is woo. Yeah, you are a weirdo, Kev. I know we've talked. You're a weirdo. Nathan, random guy showing Dogman on Facebook from his back door. Most woo for me. Derek, was the R. Keith Andrews revelation of eating aliens in 2020? No, that was last year. That was last year. Little Richie G, my spoon. John, that dog story from 2 nights ago. 4-month-old vanishes for 5 years. Sammy, I think. That story was epic. Dominic gets a final word on this one for tonight. There are still people out there thinking the world is flat. Thank you to everybody participating in the Thought of the Day. We will do it all again very, very soon on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you to Captain Shirk for getting the news together on the SOR Newswire, and to R. Keith Andrews and Nicole Sackich for joining us on the ET Connection. They will be back in November. And a big thank you to all of you for a wonderful, wonderful show. The one thing I love about shows with Keith, we really get into the snark a little bit. We have some fun with it, and you guys all enjoy it. I read the comments in the chat rooms and on Twitter, and you make me laugh. Yeah, you do. I may not show it on camera, but trust me, on the inside, I am busting a gut. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thaw rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, wherever you may be. Thank you to everybody in our chat rooms, hanging on out in Spreaker, YouTube, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club at our website, and all the snarkers and snarkettes on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You are one hell of a woo crew, each and every one of you. And thank you for being that way. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends,
make a mistake. We're watching.
We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo Train is docked for the night, but soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we have room for them too. Have a great night. Good night. Well, that's good stuff, people. Good job tonight. Solid woo. Solid woo. Do 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 do. 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 Do do. Do do do. Okay, everyone, I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. I know there's like 80 of you. I know that. I'll be right back. trying to. Got a daddy long legs on my floor and I can't even get rid of them. Ah. Oh, what happened here? Did we, I guess we had a little bit of an issue. Anyways. Cheers to all of you. Having a Bud Light apple. Trying this one out. It's actually pretty good. Hey, Ibarata, thank you. Thank you for becoming a new fan of our show here. We love having you here, man. Back. No. No, delete that. Wave the woo. Absolutely, my friend. We're glad you're here. All right. So let's just go like this first. Go like this, put that there, and then put that there. What time is it in Singapore right now? Curious. I better turn this up because I need to. So. Everything else, radio.com. Here we go. All right, so that out. I'm out of the Contactee right now. I'm out of Contactee. Actually, that's a good idea. I'll go get some Contactee tomorrow. Contactee is a great beer. Fantastic when it's ice cold. Ask Joe. Is Joe still in the chat room? He didn't believe me that I was bragging about Contactee beer. And then I sent him 24 cans. I said, Joe, here's the rules. You cannot drink this beer unless it is ice cold. Because that's the only way to drink it. 3:08 p.m. in Singapore. Oh, very cool. Are you, Nicole, are you in Singapore too? Or did you just Google that? Oh, good job. Good job, Nicole. You're stepping up hard there for the team right there. Oh, weird. My on here. Oh, I know why. Oh, weird. My music. But if we can hit 10,000. Let me see. Get rid of that. It's 2. I believe 3 is going to be right here. Probably closer to there. Good call. Good call. Hello, Tina. Human Carl's back. Human Carl's back. Hey, Jack Clark. Good night, Corrance. You did a hell of a job again, buddy. You're the best. Sleep well, man. We'll talk this weekend. Thank you for everything you do, Cor. You're awesome. We got all those now. Where's that helicopter mosquito? I don't get it, Fap. I don't get it. Help me out, man. Help me out. Oh, the slight noise over the channel. Some of that is my dump button box. Others is there's a little bit of a ticking sound that we just got to adjust, and once we get there, it'll clear up. I don't like it. The noise coming through my end sounds like helicopter blade noise and a buzzing insect. Look at that great picture of Axel right there, singing at the Hard Rock Hotel. It's from 2014. Hey, Raul, how you doing, man? All right. Thank you. Thank you, Pharmacy. We're really glad you found us too, Ibarata. Thank you. Tell all your friends. Tell them to come woo with us. Raul, I'm doing good. Have I tried booking Stephen Greer? No, I'll never have him on this show. Not that he's a bad person or anything like that, but when anybody asks me for a sample of questions beforehand so they can prepare for them, and then asks if I am paying him for the interview, that's not what we're all about. So I will not allow anybody to try and manipulate you guys who are in the audience. So no, Stephen Greer will never be on this show unless he changes his ways, which I don't see him doing that. So that's kind of the whole premise there. All right, let's get this one done. There we go. Oh, goodness, I did the wrong button there. Move back over here. What did I miss here? Prairie Fire, you have a good weekend, man. Robbie Seffer, no. Hey, William Giacomo, there's some sound for you. I am talking. We all just kind of hang out after the show, man. What I am doing, just so you know, and you're not just sitting here looking at me, look tired and doing nothing. I'm actually editing the show to send it to all of the radio stations that broadcast us. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now. And yeah, that's kind of what I do at this point is I'm editing. And if people have questions, I will answer the questions as best I can while I'm doing the whole editing. Yeah. No, I understand here, Barada, what you're saying, but I don't pay people to come on this show. And he's the only one I've actually really rejected a request, interview request. I mean, I may try him in the future, just right now, no. So that's the whole purpose of right now, William Giacomo Filane. No problem, man. I understand where the frustration comes from, because here you are tuned in and you're kind of like, well, what the hell is this, man? Like, I turned in for some woo, and there's no woo. It's just it's like a silent film that's like really bad. I totally get that. Totally get that. Yeah, if you want anybody for Corns, the booking guy, to try and bring on the show, the best thing I could say is email him at bookings@spacedoutradio.net. Bookings@spacedoutradio.net. That's the best thing. All right, Dave, any plans for Halloween? Let's see here. Plans for Halloween. It's funny. I was talking to my little guy about this because nobody really knows what's happening with Halloween this year. I think where there will be trick-or-treating. That being said, depends how many houses are going to go black because of the coronavirus. Are we allowed to call it coronavirus anymore, or is it just COVID-19? Anyways, so I do plan, considering Halloween is a Saturday night, I'm going to take like a couple $100 and I'm going to blow it on fireworks and go blow up my backyard for my little guy and probably have a big bonfire with marshmallows and like hot dogs and stuff like that. So that's probably what we will be doing. Larry, yes, we will be improving on the YouTube side here in a little bit. I just gotta gain some time here right now, and all of my extra time is taken up right now to really learn the video setup of everything. I use Skype, so I have to learn how to bring in even Skype onto a new video source into OBS, so that way we can, start filming some videos for the YouTube channel, because there's a lot that I want to do. I gotta see how that works. I gotta ask somebody a question on that. But yeah, I agree. I'd love to do something with the listeners. I really gotta bear down and learn my video editing, because that's where I want to start making some more videos. And I know you guys have heard me talking about that, but literally between working 2 jobs and now that it's firewood season, where I have to get my house ready for winterizing it, and get all my firewood for the winter, so that way we can keep the house warm. That's where a lot of my time is being spent right now. And to be honest, I'm absolutely exhausted by it. But I love that idea. I think it's great. And we will definitely look into that. That's something that we should be doing. Ibarata, was I an Art Bell fan? 100%. 100%. Loved Art Bell. God bless him. Let's see here. We could do a call-in show too. Yeah, we could. Like I said, just let me get kind of back to normal here, and I'll be fine. Hello, Kimberly. Yeah, you're getting tired. You poor thing. All right, that's all uploaded. Share that. All right, everyone. You guys have an amazing weekend, because I am getting up for work in the morning, so I got to do that, and then I have to go hang out with my boy. I'm going to take him for a ride tomorrow. And Sunday, much love to each and every one of you for tuning us in. Remember to hit that subscribe button. We're pushing for 10,000 members here, and I'd love to hit that by the end of October. That would be really, really cool if we could hit that number. And it's all based on what you guys are doing and you guys sharing the show. And your help means a lot to me, man. So thank you. Much love. And thank you to everybody for the super chats tonight, along with hitting that subscribe button, hitting that thumbs up button, and doing a little shopping at the SOR Vault. So everybody have a good time. Enjoy your weekend. We'll be back on Monday, Tuesday for you guys outside of North America, and we'll see you very soon. Much love, everyone.